The night air around Kaohsiung National Stadium shimmered with warmth and electricity, as if the entire city were breathing in rhythm with the tens of thousands who had gathered for the Asia Artist Awards 2025. Golden beams of light stretched into the sky, shimmering across a sea of light sticks that pulsed in vibrant waves of color. It was a night meant to celebrate artistry, music, drama, and the people who shaped Asia's entertainment world. But no one, not the audience, not the performers, not even the hosts, could have predicted that the most unforgettable moment of the evening would emerge not from a performance, but from something far quieter, softer, and infinitely more intimate. From the moment Lee Jun-ho and Yoona stepped onto the vast stage together, something in the atmosphere shifted. They had both agreed to host the ceremony months earlier, and fans around Asia had eagerly anticipated their chemistry. Two consummate professionals, two beloved stars, two individuals with a history of respectful, affectionate friendship. But tonight, something felt different. The cameras caught it first, then the fans, then the world. As the stadium roared with anticipation, Yoona stepped forward, her white satin gown catching the light like waves on a silver ocean. Jun-ho moved with calm certainty beside her, not overshadowing her, but orbiting her with a quiet gravitation that was impossible to ignore. When she paused to greet the cheering crowd, he instinctively rested a gentle hand behind her back, not touching, simply guiding, protecting. That single motion sent murmurs through the stadium's front rows. The rest of the world would see it moments later, when the footage hit Livestream. It continued like that, tiny gestures, impossibly tender and entirely unscripted. When Yoona bent slightly to fix the hem of her gown, Jun-ho bent at the exact same moment, as if his body reacted before his mind could catch up. When a gust of wind swept across the open stadium and threatened to blow her cue cards off the podium, instinctively shifted sideways, raising an arm to shield her. Yoona laughed, surprised by his quick reflexes. He looked at her, really looked at her, with an expression so gentle that even the cameraman hesitated before zooming in, as if intruding on something sacred. A Taiwanese mic, amused by their natural chemistry, commented lightly, "The two of you seem especially in sync tonight." The audience erupted with delighted screams. Yoona's cheeks flushed pink beneath the soft lights. She kept her head shyly, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. Jun-ho didn't miss a beat. Faint smile tugging at his lips, he replied, "I'm just taking care of someone important." The words weren't dramatic. They weren't calculated. They were simply honest. But in a stadium housing more than 30,000 people, the silence that followed carried the weight of a confession. Fans froze mid-cheer. Camera operators exchanged startled looks. Yoona herself blinked, lips parted, her breath catching for a moment so brief yet so visible. In that pause, the entire stadium seemed to exhale as one. Across social media platforms worldwide, clips of the exchange exploded. In Korea, Japan, Vietnam, Thailand, the Philippines, dozens of other countries. Trending topics lit up phones in real time. Jun-ho Yoona, AAA 2025 chemistry, silent confession. The way Hulk's other. But the night was far from over. Throughout the ceremony, every interaction between them seemed touched by something more than scripted professionalism. When they stepped down from the stage during a break between award segments, Yoona's long gown snagged slightly on one of the lower steps. Before she could even react, Jun-ho's hand was already there, steadying her elbow with careful precision. His face flashed with concern, intense, focused, unconsciously intimate. "Are you all right?" he whispered. The microphone thankfully muted. She nodded, laughing softly. And something in the way he looked at her shifted, deepened. Fans in the audience noticed. They weren't just watching two stars, they were watching a living moment of tenderness unfurl in real time. The stories continued backstage. According to a stylist who later spoke, unofficially, to press sources, Jun-ho draped his spare jacket around Yoona when she shivered slightly in the air-conditioned holding room. She tried to refuse. He insisted, placing it gently over her shoulders. She smiled. He looked at her as if the whole world had dimmed except for her. These weren't rumors anymore. They were actions. Captured. Documented. Broadcast. By the time the ceremony moved into its final hour, the narrative had already taken on a life of its own. Spectators online weren't simply asking whether the two shared chemistry, they were declaring it as fact. His eyes are confessing for him. He loves her. No doubt. This is the softest K-drama I've ever watched. OMG, is this real? Their energy tonight is unreal. Yet the moment that broke the internet didn't come until near the end of the show. As fireworks erupted in the sky above the stadium to celebrate the grand finale, Yoona flinched ever so slightly at the sudden burst of sound, an instinctive reaction. Jun-ho immediately moved closer, his body toward hers protectively. He didn't think about it, he simply acted. The fireworks illuminated his silhouette as he leaned in, his eyes fixed only on her, the world dissolving into a blur of light around them. Fan captured the scene on a high-resolution phone camera, and within minutes, the clip became the most shared video of the night. The comments flooded in. When a man protects you without thinking, that is love. This isn't acting. This is real. He just admitted everything without saying a word. Stage, as the show ended and the hosts were escorted off stage, a reporter overheard one staff member whispering to another, "Did you see how he treated her? That isn't co-host behavior. That's boyfriend behavior." The remark, intended to be private, spread quietly among journalists covering the event. Could confirm anything, but every reporter present felt they had just witnessed something rare. Something unscripted and tender. Something that could not be explained away by the usual professional chemistry credited to celebrity pairs. By the time the award ceremony officially concluded, the global internet had assigned a new title to the night: The Confession Without Words. While neither of them spoke a direct admission, the world seemed to agree that one had already been made. Not in a speech, not in a headline, but in every small gesture, every steady glance, every moment of unfiltered tenderness that passed between them on that massive stage. As limousines lined up outside the stadium to take artists back to their hotels, whispers rippled across media circles about what might unfold once the cameras were gone. Would the chemistry fade into professionalism once more? Would they retreat into silence, letting the moment dissolve like so many other fleeting award show highlights? Or would the night's quiet confession continue shaping everything that came after? No one knew. But as Yoona stepped into her car, and Jun-ho paused, placing a careful hand above the door frame to ensure she didn't bump her head, the answer began to write itself. And that was only the beginning. When the final echoes of applause dissolved into the night, Kaohsiung National Stadium slowly returned to stillness. Staff members hurried backstage with clipboards and headsets. Artists disappeared into private corridors, and fans reluctantly drifted out into the gentle Taiwanese breeze. But for Yoona and Lee Jun-ho, the night was only shifting into its next chapter. Outside the stadium, dozens of reporters waited, their cameras poised and ready. They weren't expecting a scandal, they were waiting for magic. Something had changed during AAA 2025. Something subtle but impossible to deny. Every journalist present understood the responsibility of documenting that shift. As Yoona stepped out first, wrapped in a long cream-colored coat, the flashes lit up the sidewalk. Bowed politely, offering her signature serene smile. But there was a softness in her expression, one that hadn't been there before the ceremony began. Behind her, just a few steps away, Jun-ho emerged. He didn't try to hide. He didn't rush ahead. He simply walked close enough that his presence seemed to form a quiet boundary around her. When a group of excited fans surged forward, waving banners and shouting their names together, Jun-ho instinctively moved half a step to the side, Yoona from the sudden push. He didn't touch her, but his arm rose subtly, creating a protective barrier. The fans noticed. The press noticed. And Yoona, startled but grateful, glanced up at him with a small, almost imperceptible smile. That single look, so natural, so tender, became the photograph that anchored headlines the next morning. Their cars arrived moments later. Yoona bowed once more to the crowd as her manager opened the door. Before she stepped in, Jun-ho leaned forward slightly and murmured something, his voice too quiet for microphones to catch. She blinked, surprised, then laughed softly before disappearing into the vehicle. The door closed, and the press erupted in speculation. No one knew what he said. Everyone wanted to know, and that mystery only fueled the night's growing romantic narrative. The moment the video hit social media, comments flooded the feeds. He did not just whisper to her like that. This is boyfriend energy. Someone stop them, they're making my standards too high. Inside their respective cars, the mood was entirely different. Away from the roaring crowd, away from cameras. They each processed the night in silence. Yoona leaned her head against the seat, replaying the small, unexpected gestures. The way he shielded her. The way he looked at her. The way he didn't step away, even when the whole stadium was watching. It wasn't grand, dramatic love. It was gentle, attentive affection, the kind that feels like a warm breath against winter air. Meanwhile, in his own car, Jun-ho stared out the window, fingers resting on his chin. Worried about the headlines. He wasn't thinking about the trends or the hashtags. He was thinking about Yoona, how radiant she looked when she laughed on stage. How she studied him when he stumbled over a joke. How she softened when he put his jacket around her shoulders backstage. He had tried to hide his feelings for months, sometimes years. But tonight, something inside him had slipped free. Without meaning to. Actions he had performed 1,000 times before, simple kindness, gentle protectiveness, suddenly exposed him more honestly than any spoken confession ever could. And she had seen it. She had seen it. The following morning, woke up to an internet on fire. Major outlets ran headlines like, "The Silent Confession of Lee Jun-ho, a night of actions louder than words. Yoona and Jun-ho, the chemistry that stole AAA 2025. Viewers declare, this isn't acting anymore." National media followed suit. Japanese tabloids compared their interactions to top-tier romance dramas. Thai fans wrote essays analyzing his hand movements. Filipino newspapers called it the real highlight of AAA. Meanwhile, fan communities debated passionately. Some were ecstatic, weaving fantasies about the pair. Others urged caution, reminding each other that close friendship in showbiz is often misunderstood. But nearly all agreed on one thing. What happened on that stage was different. Even artists who witnessed the event had opinions. One well-known actor posted a cryptic Instagram story of two fireworks crossing above a stadium. Captioned simply, "Destiny loves subtlety." As excitement swelled, agencies remained careful. SM Entertainment released a concise statement. Yoona and Lee Jun-ho maintain a close professional friendship. Please enjoy their chemistry responsibly. Jun-ho's agency kept it even shorter. There is no additional comment at this time. Their silence, however, was interpreted as permission for the public to dream. In the days that followed, more behind-the-scenes stories surfaced. A stylist revealed that Jun-ho had asked staff earlier about Yoona's shoe height, worried she might struggle with the long steps on stage. A lighting technician claimed he saw the two sharing a quiet joke before a segment, their shoulders touching briefly in a way that seemed far too comfortable to be mere colleagues. A Taiwanese organizer mentioned that when Yoona's microphone malfunctioned, Jun-ho was the first to alert staff, not the crew. These weren't romantic scandals. Weren't tabloid exaggerations. They were small truths that felt poetic when pieced together. One journalist wrote, "Love, when it's real, rarely arrives with fanfare. It arrives in moments that are too tender to script." What no one knew, however, was how Yoona and Jun-ho themselves processed the aftermath. On the third day after AAA, they crossed paths again, both appearing for a joint interview scheduled long before the awards. Mood was tentative but warm. Cameras were still being set up when Yoona approached him with a soft laugh. "You caused quite a storm." Teased lightly. Jun-ho scratched his neck, embarrassed. "I didn't mean to." She looked at him, not with frustration or discomfort. A gentle curiosity. "I know." Something in his chest loosened. Blooming quietly. During the interview, they maintained professionalism. But the ease between them was unmistakable. When Yoona reached for her water bottle and knocked over a pen, Jun-ho reflexively studied it. The interviewer asked about chemistry. Yoona laughed and glanced at him. And he blushed in a way that felt boyish, unrehearsed. They didn't need to address the rumors. Their presence beside each other was enough. By the time the interview aired, fans around the world had already decided. A love story in motion. Not confirmed. Not denied. Not loud. Not public. Growing, gently but undeniably, beneath the surface. And as columnists began referring to AAA 2025 as the night where care became confession, the industry quietly shifted its gaze toward them, curious, hopeful, and strangely protective. In a world where celebrity relationships often spark chaos, drama, or backlash, this one felt different. Like watching two people gradually remembering how to fall in love. The story wasn't explosive. It wasn't scandalous. It was soft. The kind of soft that lingers. Kind of soft that changes everything. And as the year moved forward, one question echoed through articles, radio shows, and late-night fan discussions. If this was just the beginning, what comes next?